Recovery is
stupendous,
achievable,
hope,
freedom,
empowering. It's unique to everyone.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Getting a new lease on life.
Finding restoration after you fall down.
Recovery is having the freedom to enjoy life.
For me, it was finding a way to really love myself.
My recovery is possible in part because of my own sense of purpose.
Welcome to Recovery Talks. I'm Lea Wetzel, Montana's Peer Network, criminal justice certified behavioral health peer support specialist, trainer, facilitator, consultant, and I am here today with an amazing guest. The first time I met this man was on our healing talking circle that we have on Saturday night. And it's been an honor to just watch him grow, rise, and he's been a huge support system of my own and of all the individuals that join us on that healing circle. And so today I'm here with Frank Richards. Frank, would you share with our listeners who you are and a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. Thank you, Leah, and thank you for asking me to do this. It's an honor. Frank Richards. I come from the Hoopa Valley Reservation in Northern California. I'm a 56-year-old man. I got 4 children, 3 adult children, 1 little guy, not little, he's junior high school, and 2 grandkids. And I live here on the reservation, but I haven't always been on the reservation. I wasn't raised on the reservation. This is my mom's reservation. I am a Hoopa enrolled tribal member, but I'm also Yurok and Redwood Creek and descendant from Charlie Moon, who's a very important person in this area. But yeah, that's who I am.
Well, thank you for letting our listeners know who you are, where you come from. And, thanks again for joining me today on such short notice as well. And so you are a man in recovery. You're a leader, and I know you're very humble about things, but I'd really like you to let our listeners know a little bit about your own recovery journey, how you got into it, who was a big part of that, and when you started to get into recovery and how it's been a positive effect on your mental health and your life altogether.
Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, right now I've been in recovery since January 2020. Before that, I was about 5 years clean and sober, and I relapsed on a relationship battle thing, and that's taken care of. But my sobriety, this is about the 5th time I've got clean and sober, started when I started getting DUIs. And I had to go through the court system and really didn't like that. I was very defensive and hostile. I had to go to the meetings, had to pay fines, had to have a thing on my car that you blow into before it would turn on. And that was expensive. But I kept my job. I was a functioning alcohol and drug addict. I took care of my family that way. I was a provider, but I drank a lot, and I drank a lot on the weekends. And so when those DUIs started happening, it was a wake-up call. I remember one class that we had to take was a big room at the courthouse, and it was all the people who had DUIs last week. And so when I got there, it was so big, I sat in the back, and soon it just filled up. Must have been about 150 people there. And that was all people busted for drunk driving last week. But the people who came up and spoke on how their lives are affected by a drunk driver really, really hit me hard. The stories that came from a loved one being killed, one loved one that is disabled, it could be any of us, could have been any of us. And so even though that would hit me hard, I was clean and sober for about 2 years and got right back into it. That was my pattern. I go till I got in trouble, have to go through all that, stay clean and sober. And so I would get pissed off at people that been in there multiple times. It's like, man, don't you get it? And then here I was, that person. About the third, fourth time, it was a native outpatient, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful because there were so many things. There was a guy there that sounded looked just like my dad. There was people in there that looked exactly like people from my reservation, and it was funny. It was kind of funny because they weren't nothing like the person back at my reservation. But the camaraderie was there. It was powerful. It's interesting as I look back on the alcohol and drugs. It was mostly meth. I did most of my heavy drinking in high school, and I got hooked on cocaine for about 2 or 3 years. I'm glad I stopped that. But it was the meth that I always had a problem with. I couldn't stop it. It was in my family. It was all over. I mean, you couldn't tell me that nobody did meth, because in my world everybody did it. Even the people who were, had jobs and working in important places, they drank and did dope. And so now it's on the other side of that. I'm seeing it and talking to a lot of people who are clean and sober, got years of sobriety. This circle on Saturday is just amazing. And the links that I have been getting from being on there is amazing. There's people who are celebrating 20, 30, 40 years, which is crazy. I've been in the darkness probably 30 years, fallen in and out. So this journey that I'm on now, I believe this is it. This is the way I'm going to be. And so there's so many beautiful, positive, awesome things that's been blessing me in my life. It's just amazing, and attitude and perception of things, mindfulness in your heart and knowing things and being preventative and proactive. I have that mindset now. So it's been beautiful.
Thank you, Frank. And I know that a big part of your healing journey has been education, educating yourself, and then also sharing education and developing this nonprofit of yours within contracts, grants. Tell us a little bit about your organization, where folks can find that information, and about your most recent news that you've got.
Yeah, definitely education. The mind is more important now than ever. It's, when you get educated, people can't take it from you. And my mom told me that, and she was going to school, being a nurse, taking care of us. And I think that's where we get our ethic from, me and my sisters. But education, started with that outpatient. I took it as a education, not like a punishment, but I took it as, there's $1,800, I'm like, geez, this is a college education. So that White Bison book, Bold Variety book, we did that, handed it to us, and then I went through it that night, and I put Post-its on a bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about. Showed up the next day at the next meeting, and that guy tells me that it was just for my personal reading. I was pissed about that. I was pissed about that. I go, well, I got stuff to talk about in here, and I didn't realize that I was actually interacting in the education part and the feeling, knowing that you know something and you're comprehending and you understand something and you can do it and say it is powerful. It's a powerful thing, the mind, and I find it fascinating. But my journey started with education when I lived in Nevada. I took a construction management course. It was a new course that was being developed. It took me like 10 years to get a 2-year degree, more than that, but 10 years. And during that time, I went from business, then I went to social work. I love that. I love that program so much because it shouldn't be called social work. It should just be called human behavior or something, because it's what humans do. We as humans do and why we do things. The psychology, the philosophy of all that. It was just amazing. And I'm very, very humble and grateful that I was in that mindset to be able to understand that, because I took it serious my last 2 years, got really good grades and graduated with AA and behavioral and social science. With my plan, I wanted to get out and help young people in our alternative school. Wanted to help young people who are falling through the cracks of education, and it's huge. It's huge here, especially now with the pandemic. These young people, and then the fentanyl and the heroin. It's just there's so many things against them, and I work with them, and that was one thing too that brought me out of my funk, I call it, of depression and unhappiness, was being with my kids and my boys in football. And I got coach football. I was on the football board for about 4 or 5 years. Loved that. Amazing people in the community. I'm not doing that no more. My boy's 17, but ready to graduate. All my kids graduated. They attribute that to my journey. They see me doing. They seen that. They seen that change and that mindset and so the training, the teaching, the education. I look all that as tribal. It's communal. And all our ills, all our social ills that we have on each reservation, you can go down the list, and they all come from not belonging and having heartfelt feelings of incidences and circumstances that sits on your mind. And people want to be punitive with it in the system that we live in. That was something on that trauma-informed school board meeting. This lady got up and read this beautiful letter and was talking about the decolonization of our school system. And because it is a Western colonial dynamic and system that we assimilated into very well. If you don't know something and you don't take the initiative to go and research it and see about that, you just take what you were told as gospel, I think that's dangerous. And so
Yes.
the CR teacher, the CR dean, the College of the Redwoods dean, came to Hoopa yesterday, and we were discussing a tiny home class for their college branch that's located here on a reservation. He offered me a job to teach a group of college students. We're going to start remodeling the side of the college where there's rock, and then we're going to build a small ramp. Most of it's lecture. And when we talked about the design of it, and it's like, so most of it's just me talking. And he goes, well, yeah, you're instructing. He ran through the whole scenario of things, and I was like, yeah, I'm more about including people, and I see those people standing on the outside as you want to talk about something, make them feel included. But that's a whole awesome thing in itself.
Nice.
It starts in August, fall semester. I will be a faculty member. I'm a college instructor. Been trying to do it for 6 years. Been trying to create a training program for our people for 6 years and 3 administrations of council. And finally got this council right now that is forward thinking, and they have visionaries. I was allowed to enter into a huge modular factory, 65,000 square feet, occupying a third of that. And I got my program in there. We're building sheds to start with. I think smokehouses and picnic tables, stuff like that, to get revenue, to keep the program going. Because in March 2020, I created a nonprofit, me and my sisters. And it's just grown, in reputation. It has grown in projects and helping people. And I'm just amazed. I am amazed. The thing that really amazes me is the ease of it. I'm like, it can't be this easy. It can't be. And it is, and I just thank the creator, because it's just overwhelming. The goodness is overwhelming sometimes. And I was sitting there a couple of times in my chair, just feeling at ease, feeling comfortable, feeling awesome. And it's just like, this is happy. This is for me, this is how happy feels. And that feeling to even be able to sit down to acknowledge that moment was very rare. My nonprofit's called Building Lives by Building Structure. We are a 501c3, and we're located on the reservation, but we're not like directed by the council. And I've been just plugging away at this. Yeah, I get frustrated. I get sad. I'm a journeyman carpenter. I can go anywhere and make, a bunch of money, and I've done that. I've chased money before, but I want to start this program, and it's starting. It's amazing. I kind of got this. It hit me when I was talking to this college of the Redwoods dean when he was talking. He's that same mindset. He goes, I just don't want to have a program here and it's gone next semester. I'm going to help you out. If you want, I'll come, give me a call. I'll come and throw my tool bags on and help you finish or whatever I need to do. He goes, I want
Wow.
to see. And I was like, wow, man, that's awesome. The College of the Redwoods main branch, their class builds houses. It takes them a year to build a house, and it's beautiful. I was like, we're building houses here on the reservation, and I got good partnership and networking with a lot of people in this community and all the trades. And so I told that dean, I was like, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but there's nobody like me here that's going to do this. A journeyman carpenter will be chasing money until they disabled. And that was one thing that kind of helped me get this going was my health, my body, things that are going on, you name it. It's lower back. I had open heart surgery, double bypass about 4 years ago. Yeah, the diabetes, depression, all these things that I attribute to the long 30 years of drinking and drugging, especially the body part. Working carpentry is hard on in your body anyway, and when you're drinking and drugging, not taking care of yourself, it's hurtful later. So this is what the lesson that I'm going to tell the young people that I can be there, that person that has been through it and see it and help them hopefully get clean and sober themselves or get healthier, provide a good life. Just recently, a huge company, North Coast Metal Fabricators, were talking to them about building containers for our homes. So they're going to be new homes. They're offering to have, if I had 2 or 3 people that's willing to travel 70 miles, a paid apprenticeship for welding to learn how to weld those containers. And when they get
Wow.
certified, they can come back to Hoopa and start making these containers because that's the big issue right now with the Humboldt Homes is what I'm a part of. In addition to building as a building structure, we're building container homes. We're almost done with our first one. We got spray foam and metal framed, and it's going to be awesome. It's a beautiful, beautiful project. It's the time. Housing shortage, rentals. They're non-existent here in Hoopa. People can't rent. There's no place to rent, and so there's all these things on the horizon that I have, and a lot of my board. I got 8-member board, all natives, one white financial advisor. Beautiful people, beautiful board, and I just feel so blessed. And these people came to me and asked me to be on the board, and I'm just overwhelmed on that right there. It's so awesome. The amazing part of that connection, that belonging, that trust, and that they trust me. I'm the executive director. I'm the chairman of the board. I'm the training instructor, coordinator, and I'm doing everything. And a while back, it got overwhelming, but now it's just like it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility that I've been praying and wishing and hoping and working towards this. Now it's starting. I need to start playing my part, and be present. And I know for a fact, I feel it in every part of me that if I did a line to help me get going, or I drank a beer to calm down, it wouldn't stop there. I would end up falling down, falling off, and how many people would just so disappointed, and especially my family, they're pretty proud of me. It would just be so hurtful, and that part right there, I don't want to burn that. I don't want to break that trust and that love. People still love me, but it's like I've done this so many times, and people have actually treated me like that. Oh, you're clean and sober? Yeah. Well, for how long? How long this time? And so that's another thing that keeps me going is these young people have no choices or options. Our wood shop, welding, band, auto shop building burned down about 6 years ago. They haven't rebuilt it. And so our young people haven't been able to put hands on tools to make something and build something. And so I know what that medicine is. I know how that feels. I know how, getting a paycheck, a good paycheck, getting what you paid, what you're worth. And so I want to feel this for those people, the young people that I work with. When we go to elders' homes and we do something and they're so grateful and they show them appreciation and the look on their face, it's priceless. They're like, wow, they're really happy we're here. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you guys are doing good. You're doing positive things, man. One elder even slipped a couple hundreds in their hand, and they looked at me and I was like, my grandpa told me when an elder has money in their hand that you take it when they're giving it to you. But otherwise it's different. But they're honoring you, so take it. It was for them, and I just felt so proud and happy for them that they're experiencing that feeling of being appreciated.
And purpose.
Yeah, it was a big project, for an elder. And I've been putting my stuff on Facebook, and so I've been getting a lot of good feedback, all positive. Just right now, we're applying for this grant to buy 2 containers and bring them to Hoopa and turn them into homes. And those homes are going to be a part of the accessory dwelling units, the ADU unit. I don't know what to call it, a trend or fad in Humboldt County. They're perfect for ADUs. And when we're done in the factory, it's about 90% done. It's taken to your property and craned in, set down, and the utilities are hooked up and everything finished, and you live in it in 2 weeks. So,
Wow.
yeah, people know about this container. They're waiting for it to be in a factory and start being made. So there's all these other things, these networking things that have a lot of trust, a lot of responsibility, a lot of support that have come my way, like that welding opportunity for somebody to learn welding. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And I can sit here in my house. I'm home alone and watch TV. And sometimes when I'm watching TV, I'm not even watching TV. There's stuff's going on in my mind about what's going to be, what do I need to do? And I'm not perfect. I miss things, miss meetings and things I need to do, but I have that ability to put my own schedule down. I don't pick up my student no later than, around 10, and I pick him up at his house and we'll work 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours. And I got a bunch of stuff to do, paperwork and computer work. And that works for him too, because his ADHD, he's really good for about 4 hours and then he kind of
Sidetrack.
Yeah. And so it works for him perfectly. But I can see an 8 to 5 job for him, 5 days a week. It doesn't interest him. It doesn't interest my nephews, but they'll give it all. They're all for a couple hours a day. And so I'm glad I have that.
It doesn't interest many of us anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
To be able to set our own schedule, that's priceless.
It's colonial, it's decolonization.
That's right.
We're set in that 8 to 5 days a week, get 2 days off, do it again, get paid very little and, suffer and survive. That's the American dream. No, there's better ways.
There is.
Yeah.
There is. Just listening to, my very first company I owned was 100% Native-owned construction company that did federal contracting, and we visited before.
Yeah.
I grew up in my dad's, business that really took off, and there's so much opportunity out there for minorities and to hear, and people in recovery of all spectrums, and to hear your story for our listeners, no matter where you come from, no matter what your background is. Follow your hopes and dreams. You hear Frank here today. And he's a big supporter of my independent work as well as the work I do with Montana's Peer Network. And if it's an idea, 9 times out of 10, there's a way to get it going. If you have any last words you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, thank you. Sobriety, recovery, wellness, all that. And I don't mean to diminish this at all, but it's kind of been uncool. I mean, the first couple of times I was in treatment, everybody in there was uncool, and I didn't belong there. And I was defensive and, pretty hostile about it. Right now, it's cool. It's cool to get clean and sober. It's cool to get educated. It's cool to be part of the community. It's cool to ask for forgiveness, and it's the way we were a long time ago. We wouldn't get this far. I imagine we wouldn't get this far if people would see us falling off and, it would get, taken care of. People who love you would come and say, hey, better straighten up. And that's all it would have took. But my message to the listeners is it's now. Now is the time, because there's so much opportunity of rise in this world, in this country, for Native people. But you got to be clean and sober. You got to know something. You don't have to know a lot, but you got to know a little bit about something. And if you're going to sit there and just be still and stale, try to be doing something, reading, watching something informative. Educate yourself every day, build your brain muscles up, and try to go to college, try to take some night classes, try to build your capacity of what you have and be valuable. Be a valuable asset to your family and your community. And we're all in this together. There's nobody's better than nobody, and it's the struggle. It's the struggle that's real, and we all go through it. And I hope and pray that people understand that it is now the time to get clean and sober for ourselves, for our people, for our families, for our communities. Thank you, Lea.
Thank you, Frank. And thank you to our listeners. And if you heard something today that you like, please contact us. We're on all social media platforms, as well as you can email us, leah@mtpeernetwork.org. And Frank's information will be on the link posted with this podcast on Facebook. And, again, thank you, Frank. And to our listeners, have a good week.
Thank you, Lea.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works. Recovery is possible.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.